Professors show students how close civil war really is after the Charlie Kirk's murder.
The day after Charlie Kirk was shot, this professor, Sam Richards, tries to issue a dire warning to his students and tries to have a genuine conversation about the real ramifications of what this could mean.
This thing could go south, okay? You know what I mean by that, going south, okay?
The response of some of these students surprised me, and it's worth looking at.
Just go in a slightly different direction.
I have a question.
Up the volume. You know what, guys? You want to see the technology? I have the technology. Wait, where is it? I can now boost the sound of any video.
Yeah.
I just would
Yes,
like
it's
to know
Scorpion. Thank you.
what ways he showed that he was changing his mind, or maybe he showed some progression in his thinking.
Think about what she's saying here, because you can't know what the proper progression would be unless you think you have the right way to think.
Because she made a
That's
very
true.
good point. It was
yeah.
prove me wrong, but it was never for the benefit. Like being able to look at someone with an opposing opinion and say,
You know, and the funny thing is you actually have this happen a lot, where you'll have people on the left, they'll say like, they'll say things like, oh, you're already stuck in your beliefs. Like, there's no way I can convince you. You never change your mind on anything. And it's like, just because you don't change your mind on something doesn't mean that you're not open to having your mind changed. It could also mean that the argument hasn't been presented yet that actually shatters your argument, right? And it's like they just almost seem like it's a matter of fact to them. Like it's an obvious, like they're obviously right. They're obviously right to the point that they don't even have to argue it. That's kind of like how they act about it, right?
I take no offense. It's not hating on me. It's your opinion. It's your stance. I respect it.
Yeah.
Is something he did rarely.
And then she makes the most common, frustrating, and lazy attacks that, well, he was 31 debating with college students.
And I think even again in relation to who he was talking to, he's 31, or correct?
Yeah.
He's in his 30s arguing with college students.
Well, the thing is that's also really important, right? Because, is this a lost art in college? Because college is all about trying to discover like what you believe, right? Isn't that the point? That's like the point of college, is you go there to try to like, you go into the big, mixer of ideas, and you try to like find out which ideas you think are the best that like form you. And then you kind of form your belief system around that, right? And then if you're proven wrong, you're like, okay, you know what, maybe I'm wrong in that case. And then like you change it. That just seems like a matter of fact, right? So it's of course you'd want to like go to colleges and like say like, hey, well, you changed my mind, right? I mean, it just makes sense. It's like, that's where you would do it, right? Because then people who don't agree with you, or don't agree with Charlie, for instance, they had an opportunity to go up and explain why they didn't agree with it, why they didn't agree with him, and then he would have a conversation with him. That was the point of it.
And pushing a fake prove me wrong narrative. I'm going to listen to you. No, you're not.
Here.
And I think it's at this point that it genuinely gets under Sam's skin, but he's trying not to at this point.
Pushing a fake prove me
yeah.
wrong narrative. I'm going to listen to you. No, you're not.
Here.
And I think it's at this point that it genuinely gets under Sam's skin, but he's trying not to show it.
I'll tell you how I know that he shifted his thinking, because you cannot be engaged with human beings in the way that he was and the way that I am, day after day after day. You cannot engage at that level and shift the way you see the world. And I listened to the complexity of his arguments over time, and I'm like, yeah, that dude's like, these things are getting to him.
And it seems to really bother some of these students, the fact that, well, he was skeptical about colleges today and the need to go to college.
Charlie was very aggressive with his views.
The other thing too, to be honest, is it does make sense. It makes sense that like if you're constantly PvPing, right? Like there's these people like Andrew Wilson, for instance, and like Charlie's one of them. Charlie is just like that too, where like they are always PvPing, like they're PvPing all the time, right? The best players in anything, right? They constantly throw themselves in the arena, right? And so you have Charlie Kirk, who's this guy who's PvP'd so much that he's been exposed to so many ideas that every day that he PvPs somebody and faces a new idea, he has to like forge his own ideas, whether that's taking a little bit of that, putting a little bit, deleting some of his own beliefs to make room for something that like he thinks is a better idea. But he's constantly like hammering and honing at like his beliefs. So of course his beliefs, it would be harder for him to change his mind against, like it would be harder for him to change his mind when like he's already had the time to kind of form like a more complex belief that has like a lot more structure to it, right? It makes sense. It makes sense that the person who has more structured beliefs would change their mind less because they have already reached a high level of I guess you would call it like their beliefs has like higher defense because it's been exposed to so many attacks, right?
It was very, at least I think a lot of the things that I've seen in a lot of the media I ingested from him was anti-college, yet his main source of debate was college campuses. That's a little bit...
Well, yeah, but, okay, hang on.
He was challenging the young minds on college campuses, which are supposed to be the places where we do that.
Yeah.
If I had to take classes over again, I don't know what I would do. I would drop out of college immediately.
Damn.
Because I just would. So he provided a great
said,
service
fuck
in the college environment. So it's like,
he said, I know I work here, but fuck this place.
He get a sense from his students of whether or not they're
Holy
even
shit.
aware of what is at stake here.
he kind of essentially is assassinated for his ideas, for challenging people. And like, whoa.
This is deeper and more important than a conversation about guns. This is about something else, but they can't make it about that because in their minds, it can't be about free speech.
Well, I think that was a really good segue into this. I think with the combination of possible retaliation and the lack of gun laws, wouldn't gun laws be better if there is a fear of retaliation from the left?
Sam tries to push through this. It's deeper than guns. It's not about that.
Okay, go beyond guns. Set aside the guns because he could have been killed in any other way.
It's as though it's not registering with some of these students. It's as though they don't see what is actually at stake here.
His death means a
The
lot.
funny thing is these people, they say fascist all the time, but that mindset is fascist, like actually, right? Like,
To a lot of people in a lot of
you
different
can't make
ways,
this up,
but
man.
I'm
This
not
is
sure
crazy.
really what I'm afraid of other than the meaning of it and the...
guys, I know how we fix this problem. This is the only way. The only way to fix this is to completely dismantle all of these colleges and all the entire education system and rebuild it. This is too much.
symbolism behind his death not being understood and utilized.
So you're not really afraid in the way that some people. How about you? Like,
No, I am still afraid. I am still afraid of things going south because things can go south.
Not the violence, not the potential for this to spiral, not civil war. No, it's Charlie Kirk's ideas living on.
do you have?
Man, that's crazy. I could see civil war, but I hope not. I hope not too. I really don't want it. I really don't. I think the ideal situation is we figure out like what's going on with it, like who's doing all. We got to hold people accountable. I'm just being real. Like teachers that are like teaching people that violence is okay if it's against people that like you don't agree with. That kind of a thing. Like teachers that are just like on main saying that like, oh, it's like great that people die. Like they need real consequences. Like they need to never be teachers again. I'm just being real, right? Like if a teacher like openly says that to like their students and they're teaching, they're the ones that are like kind of instilling like their beliefs onto the next generation. They just shouldn't be teachers. Like, they should be perma-banned. I think this is fair, just, and reasonable. It's completely logical to just like completely just perma-ban these people. Like you want to talk about class sizes? I'd rather have double the class sizes than have like a teacher teaching kids that like that it's okay to laugh when people die. I'd rather have double, triple, quadruple the class sizes and have to like deal with that. Just being real. I think the damage would be less.
I think another fear is maybe someone taking it upon themselves to handle his unfinished business, because I'm sure a lot of people that supported Charlie Kirk feel like, oh, he's gone too soon, he wasn't done, like the things he was pushing, he was making change. Other people may feel the need to echo him or carry on the rhetoric he was pushing, and I don't think that's beneficial at all.
I still haven't had a single person be able to convince me that like what Charlie Kirk is saying was problematic. Like, and the thing is like the man said a lot of things because he's been kind of in the public for such a long time. He's been doing these things for such a long time. People haven't been able to send me any. The ones that people always send me are always out of context, and we'll watch a video on that later. But a lot of the stuff like are completely taken out of context. That the things that they don't like that he said are not even taken. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. They're not even taken in the right context. And by the way, if you guys were wondering, the reason I'm always so careful when I talk and when I say something, I always preface it, right? you know how you guys always hear me say, obviously I don't mean physical violence. Obviously I don't mean we should I don't endorse anything. And I always say this, and I know it's tiring. Like, it's really fucking tiring. It's like, we know that already, right? I know you guys do. But the people are retarded. So I have to say it again before, so that people aren't going to clip me out of context and be like, oh yeah, see, Leaflit said we should kill people. Right? Because they're 100% going to do it. We should kill people. So that's why I have to be careful what I say. I have to say things like that, because that's what's going to happen. Right? Yeah. They do it already. Yes. But the thing is I don't really care about the super crazy people. I care about the more reasonable people that might take that out of that might understand that incorrectly. Correct. That's what I care about. I care about the more modern, those people the people that have been fully possessed and are full demon already. There's nothing I don't care really. I don't. I'm not trying to convince those people.
Make no mistake, this is not about what Charlie Kirk's ideas were, which is what many of these students are trying to make it about. This is about the ability to have dialogue.
His whole thing was prove me wrong, and I think that's the basis of debate, but I find the issue is, and I think the reason why he rubbed so many people the wrong way was that he acted almost as if he never really had the intention to be proved wrong.
And some students are playing
they haven't really watched much Charlie Kirk, because there's been a lot of cases in Charlie Kirk videos where he does say oh, you have a good point there. He said that a lot of times, actually.
the same game, trying to paint the picture as though Charlie Kirk was genuinely harmful, and they're digging deep here for it.
Yeah.
The student claims, well, he was too confident in what he has thought through.
You can say as much like, oh, I'm really open-minded and I want to have my opinion changed.
The problem is a lot of these people, their beliefs are not forged because they don't face opposition, right? Because a lot of the times when these people have like their beliefs, they're like, I believe this. And then everybody like, orf, 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 slay, queen, slay, orf, orf, orf. That's like what happens, right? So like because of that, they don't have to PvP and they don't have to test their ideas against other ideas, right? Because that's how we discover, like, that's how we find out, like, what's the best solution is you have idea versus idea, you pit it against each other, you PvP it, right? And then you hash out, like, okay, like, maybe some things that they said is good, and, like, maybe I'll add that to, like, my belief, right? So, like, the thing is, like, a lot of these people have mass produced, like, stamped out beliefs where it's like basically beliefs that were bestowed upon them, like, again, like stamp cut, right? Whereas like people who PvP, and again, I don't even mean like, I'm not even talking about just right wing, like conservative people, right? You have people, there's also people that are like more liberal that are the same way, where they have PvP'd their beliefs so hard that like they kind of understand a little bit better like what they believe in. And it's like, that's a good thing. That's what you should do, right? And that's why you have a lot of these people who get fucking mad. They'll get into like an argument with somebody and they'll just fold. They'll fold immediately, and then they start, and they have nowhere to go. But you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, you're well, that's offensive, right? Like they go immediately to that because there's nowhere to retreat to, basically.
If you give me the right statistics, you give me the right emotional basis, you use the Constitution, use these things to actually prove me wrong, I will change my opinion.
What do you expect when someone thinks about something deeply and has a logical foundation that is entering the fray and saying, come, challenge my foundation? She paints this picture as though that isn't genuine if you have that confidence.
So you felt as though it wasn't really genuine. So I try, for example, for me, yeah, that's really important. So you felt all along like, yeah, it's not really genuine. You know, you're not, you know. Can I tell you a story, though? Charlie, as somebody who's been around a long time, I will guarantee that he changed a lot of his ideas as a result of a lot of these debates.
Yep.
And yet, this student goes right back to...
That's why I love debate. I love debating, and like it's like I said, like I love talking to my friends. Like I have like my one IRL friend. That's our pastime: coffee shop and debate, and it's really fun because it gets you to like, well, I didn't think about it that way, or like, you know, and this is why like you have those crazy hypotheticals, because the crazy hypotheticals is like the arena in which it's like the means of which that you actually like test your beliefs truly, like, to their maximum, right? It's fun. I find it to be really enjoyable.
Attacking his ideas. Well, I don't agree with what he was saying. It's like, what's your point? Therefore, what? Just truly think about the subtext here.
Just go in a slightly different direction.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I just would like to know in what ways he showed that he was changing his mind, or maybe he showed some progression in his thinking.
Sam asked a really good question here. He asked, can you acknowledge that you agree with him on something, anything?
There are many things that Charlie said that you would agree with.
That I would agree with?
For sure.
No.
Well, listen to what I said earlier. He said the guy was talking every single day, just like me. I have thousands hours of video. He has probably 100,000 hours of video. Mm-hmm. There are things that he said that I will guarantee you would say, oh yeah, a lot of things that he said that you'd be like, yeah, that's actually a really good point, and that's a smart point, and that's good, it's bad, you know.
This is a good way to test to see if someone is coming from a conversation in an honest way.
Oh, I'm sure, but with the context and with just everything altogether, Charlie Kirk as a whole, I know I do not agree with. He could say and have, some clear points that are factually true or statistically true or morally true.
Who was this teacher? I've never heard of him before. Does this guy do this kind of thing a lot? He does? This guy's kind of a legendary teacher, dude. Yeah.
In rare cases, but that doesn't mean I agree with him and everything that he did. I wouldn't even say I agree with him.
It's not everything. It's some things, right?
Yeah.
And so,
sure.
Some students do seem to recognize how this is spiraling.
People laugh about this. Like, I've seen it on TikTok now. Like, people are laughing that, an influential person in our world that made us question our beliefs, just like you do yourself. It's not funny. No one should die.
Because Sam recognizes that this really could lead to a conflict that would resemble a civil war.
Yeah, because like once you take it to violence, right? And violence becomes that's acceptable. Then what happens when the other side gives up and they say, okay, you know what? Violence acceptable? Okay, then me too. Right? Where does that go? Is that really where you want things to go? It makes if you just think about it for more than 5 seconds, the logical conclusion is combat. Because at some point, that is the only way to solve the issue, right? Debate and discussion is a way to not have it become physical combat. And that's why it's so important. And when you kill the guy that is trying to discuss things in the arena of words, and you kill him using physical force, you are turning the clock a little bit ahead in terms of an actual physical conflict, right?
What do you think about us spiraling into some kind of civil war? Like, really, like the violence just grows and grows and grows. And are you afraid? Do you have any fear of that? Like, y'all are young.
And some of the students do seem wise and seem to recognize what is going on here.
I'm afraid of the fact that in past terrorism results, our nation has come together, and this has separated us even more. And I think that's really terrifying.
Yep.
Wait, can you say that? First off, what's your name?
My name's Natalie.
Natalie?
Yeah.
Can you say that again?
Sam shows them point blank how quickly these things can spiral out. We've not seen anything like this in our lifetimes.
Okay, but now go to Civil War level.
But yeah, that's what I was going to get to. We've cut.
But they pivot back to guns.
If you're giving people a choice to own a gun,
okay.
Then.
All right. So listen, it's not that I don't want to touch guns, because I'm happy to touch guns, right? But I want to go beyond that. We're beyond guns right now, y'all, right?
Mm-hmm. He just gets fed up with the gun control conversation.
Here. Thanks for that. I really have to go in a different... Can I just switch? I don't want to talk about guns anymore. Were you going to talk about guns? Yeah, I don't... Yeah, okay, hang on. We'll come back to guns on a different day, all right? I know, I want to, out of respect, were you going to talk about guns? What are you going to talk about?
I was going to talk about
I'm trying to be patient because these are college students and this is important, and I'm glad they're having this conversation. And it's not about this individual student, so don't take it personal. If the student sees this, don't take it personally. I would just encourage you to reflect.
What are you most afraid of?
I think I'm most afraid that America won't utilize Charlie Kirk's death in the correct way.
Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Nothing will really be gained from it, and it'll take too long to put the pieces together of significance, meaning like, what was he talking about when he died?
What was he talking about when he died? That's what's important.
Who killed him? Was it a civilian or was it planned? Was it, the date, the location, things like that? It's going to take a little bit too long to dive into those things, which prolong the process.
The important thing, all of those are just details to the important thing. The important thing is that a man died for peaceful discussion. That's the important part. That is the whole thing, really.
Process of gun control and things like that.
It's just sometimes watching college students, it's frustrating.
Because it doesn't matter. The gun part doesn't matter. Gun, knife, bare hands, rock, bomb, car. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, all of that doesn't, like, that part doesn't matter.
But this does... but that's what happens when you watch how the sausage is made, kind of. It's this undertone of, yeah, it's tragic, but he was too confident. He wasn't genuine. He did not show enough progression based upon what she judges as the right way to think.
She said someone could take his rhetoric and push it further, where I think we're looking at oh, he had so many supporters, but he didn't talk to his supporters. He talked to people that went against him and shared everybody's beliefs, which if you're sharing your beliefs and having civil conversations like that, it prevents violence and it prevents getting shot.
See, and that's why chat. That's why I argue with people in the chat, right? Even when somebody says something like I think is kind of stupid in chat, or when you see me argue with Tazuto, for instance, right? The reason I argue with those people is because the people that don't, I want to engage with people that don't believe what I do, right? Because I know a lot of you guys are going to get it. You guys are already you already understand, but there's going to be people that are on the fence. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of listening. I don't really know what I believe in this case. Maybe even if you do believe, even if you are a believer in more conservative things, but even if you are, maybe you don't know why. Maybe it's an instinctual thing. It's in your gut, you realize on some moral level, whether that's religious or just a gut feeling even, that you understand, but you don't know why, right? And that's why I argue with people. And so you can understand the why. It's so you can understand what's going on. It's so you can kind of have better, you kind of understand your beliefs more. And that's the reason I argue with these people. It's for the people that are kind of more in the middle. Right. I know I'm not going to convince Tazuto. I know I'm not going to convince another crazy person in chat. A person that comes in and is just these come in they're just kind of I know I'm not going to convince them. Me arguing with them I'm not there to convince them. That's not what it's for.